Russian disinformation playbook is the same as it's been for decades. The only difference is the technology.
For the troll farm, it's actually fairly easy to create a massive false audience that looks like a foreign audience. To an extent, social bots are like spam. What is different about social bots, computational propaganda, is there's only so much information really in an audience space. And so if you can change the balance of what you see or what an audience member sees, you can actually change their perception of reality. For example, if there are 10 accounts, they're all talking about the same issue, and one of them is a dissenting account, well, then that might be a minority view if you're just watching as a casual user. But think if you use a social bot and you add 10 more accounts, so now you're at 20 accounts, and they now are spouting that minority view. Very quickly, that can look like it's an even argument between the two camps on any position, or that it is even the majority, even though there's actually not really people there.
They have these farms of people that react to news and swarm onto bots, and some of them are automated, and they have a message, and they go out in swarms. It's like swarms of bees, and they put up different messages, and then they're picked up by real people who are then retweet them and then picked up.
If they can start this surge, then they can possibly game itself into the trending section on Twitter. So now it's going from these closed off areas that you don't really have access to essentially the front page of Twitter.
It gains credibility as it moves up the stack, and then by the end of it, you have Trump tweeting something that's inaccurate.
I think the most unbelievable stories started to come with a week left, where they were just throwing everything against the wall and seeing what stuck. And that's when the Satanism really started to come into play. That Hillary Clinton was going to these satanic rituals with Marina Abramovich, the modern artist, and like worshiping the death of babies and drinking baby blood and bathing in baby blood. If this sounds crazy, it's because it's absolutely bonkers and nuts. But it had play in American media. If you're wondering why that felt so unnatural, that we were talking about how Satan had taken over the person who most people thought was going to be the president of the United States 3 days before the election, it's because it was unnatural. It's because it was created of whole cloth by people with our worst interests in mind.
How do you fact check a meme? There's no real data behind it. You don't know where it's coming from.
I believe that the vast majority of responsibility lies with platforms to try to make sure that this doesn't get into people's feeds.
We came here for the friends, but then something happened. We had to deal with spam, clickbait, fake news, and data misuse. That's going to change.
But when bits do slip through, that's where we, as citizens, can take that extra second before clicking that retweet button to actually go read the article.
We've been teaching this since elementary school, using reputable sources. What's a reputable source?
If it's a random anonymous blog online with no byline and typos, it's probably not a good source.
Bots specifically are pretty easy to identify. They sort of tweet in the same rhetoric over and over again. They have long strings of numbers at the end of their names.
We will look at an account, and if the account never goes to sleep, if it's on 24/7, that's also a good indicator that it's not real. We can see how many tweets the account has. You literally divide that to find the number of tweets in a day. If the person's posting at a rate of 6 tweets a minute, they're probably not real.
In terms of people working for foreign governments who are there to troll you or posting fake news on the internet and getting away with it, it's a little bit harder, but there are obviously, if there's a guy in St. Petersburg who's pretending he's from Pennsylvania, there are ways to mess with them until you realize that they are not really an American football fan. If you don't see it anywhere, it's probably not true. If you see it in Google News, maybe it is. That's all. It's really uncomplicated. Don't just share stuff. Don't just look at stuff and take it at face value, especially when it's by a source that you've never heard of in your entire life, right? Or if it's by a source that is known to make stuff up, like InfoWars.
The UN's taken over the internet.
If you're uncertain if it's a real person, ignore is the best stance to take whenever you see trolling activity. The more you feed into it, even just arguing back, you're not changing the position of that person. Overall, ignoring trolling is the best way to go, almost in any case. Never share something that you haven't read or fact-checked yourself, because that is really how fake news spreads. It's like a virus.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here. And click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.